Midnight. Go wipe the floors with your mop. How dare you, a cleaner, sit at the same table with us? These insults, full of contempt, were hurled by classmates at their former friend at a 25-year high school reunion, upon learning she worked as a cleaner. But they didn't know one thing. The person they were humiliating was none other than the wife of the CEO of one of the largest Russian corporations. When the truth was revealed to all the employees and they learned that their disdain had been directed at the wife of the company's head, everything turned upside down. What really happened? The luxurious hall of an expensive hotel in central Moscow shone with the gleam of crystal chandeliers and marble floors. The graduates had gathered to celebrate the 25th anniversary of their graduation. Joyful laughter and greetings could be heard from all sides. Everyone looked successful, expensive suits, designer dresses, and accessories. When Svetlana entered the hotel, the classmates' gazes gradually turned to her. She was dressed in a simple black blouse and ordinary trousers, which sharply contrasted with the outfits of the others, clad in bright brand name items. Oh, Sveta, long time no see. 25 years have passed. Yulia approached Svetlana, not hiding her appraising glance that slid from head to toe. A watch worth millions of rubles glittered on her wrist. Soon, other classmates gathered around. Sveta, where do you live now? What do you do? Marina asked curiously. The others fell silent, waiting for an answer. Svetlana began cautiously. I work as a cleaner. I clean in different buildings. That's how I live. An instant silence fell. It seemed time had stopped. The expressions on the classmates' faces changed, reflecting surprise, confusion, and a barely noticeable sense of superiority. A strange glint flashed in Yulia's eyes. Well, Sveta, a cleaner. How did that happen? Her voice held not so much sympathy as astonishment and superiority. The classmates began to whisper among themselves. How did she sink so low? Something must have happened. It must be hard for her. Such work is a real hell. Their words held more curiosity and hidden arrogance than genuine concern. Svetlana felt their gazes growing colder. Elena, stroking her brand name purse, asked, Sveta, how much do cleaners even earn? You probably barely make ends meet. The attention of the others intensified. They looked at Svetlana like an exhibit in a zoo. Yeah, probably not even 30,000. What do they pay for cleaning these days? Olga said with a sigh full of feigned sympathy, but her eyes held only superiority. Yulia took out her smartphone and discreetly pointed the camera at Svetlana. I have to post this in our group chat. This will be a sensation. Our classmate the cleaner, 25 years later. Svetlana felt unpleasant sensations, but Yulia paid no attention. By the way, Sveta, could you wipe the floors here for us? Ha ha ha. Just kidding, Yulia laughed, and the others joined in. Svetlana's face flushed, but she restrained herself. I'm just curious, how did it happen that we all ended up so well, and you? Yekaterina interjected. My husband is a doctor. He has 2 clinics of his own. The children study abroad. The boasting began. And my husband is a lawyer, he made partner in a law firm. I work in real estate myself. Last year I earned several tens of millions. Svetlana listened silently to their boasting, but the classmates' gazes grew colder and more contemptuous. By the way, Sveta, are you married? Who is your husband? Svetlana hesitated a little, then answered, yes, I'm married. My husband works for a company. What company? What company? Yulia pressed, and the others listened with interest. An ordinary company, Svetlana replied, without going into details. The classmates confidently exchanged glances. Ah, well, so he's just on a salary then. That's why Sveta has to clean. It must be very hard for them. The fake sympathy of the classmates continued. Yulia raised her phone again. We have to record this too. It will be fun to re-watch later. Yulia, that's enough, one of her friends chided her, but without much enthusiasm. On the contrary, she seemed amused. Oh, come on, it'll be a memento for Sveta. Svetlana's face froze. They weren't like this in school. It was sad to see how people had changed over the years. How much does a cleaner earn? 30,000? And we spend hundreds of thousands, even millions, a month, said Elena, proudly displaying her expensive purse. This one bag costs 500,000. Sveta would have to work for several months to buy one like it. The classmates laughed loudly. The laughter grated on Svetlana's ears. It's still strange. Sveta was the smartest in school. And now a cleaner, Olga shook her head. So, it's not just studying that matters. Life has other priorities. Yulia cheered up. Exactly. We married well and live the good life. Only Sveta. Anger was boiling inside Svetlana, but she remained silent. How dare you, a cleaner, sit at the same table with us? Yekaterina said openly. The atmosphere grew more tense. Svetlana felt the gazes on her grow colder and fill with contempt. She took a deep breath. The pure, naive school friendship was gone. Only social status and money defined their relationships now. Well, at least Sveta is hardworking. Cleaning is necessary work too. Someone has to do it, Marina said hypocritically, but her voice also dripped with arrogance. I agree, we probably went too far. But honestly, it's a shock. I never thought Sveta would end up like this. Svetlana was in turmoil. On one hand, her classmates were humiliating her, on the other, she found their arrogance almost laughable. At that moment, a man entered the hall. In a strict blue suit with an expensive watch, he confidently headed towards Yulia. Darling, sorry I'm late. Got held up at work. Gennady apologized, lightly kissing Yulia on the cheek. Yulia beamed and took his arm. Girls, meet my husband, Gennady Petrovich. He is the head of the sales department at the Derzava holding. The classmates' eyes lit up. The name Derzava sounded impressive. Gennady politely greeted them and took out business cards, handing them out. Gennady Petrovich, head of sales department, Derzava holding. My wife has told me so much about you. Pleased to meet you. The classmates, accepting the cards, gasped admiringly. Wow, Derzava. That's one of the largest holdings. And you've made it to department head. Yulia, you're so lucky, Elena exclaimed enthusiastically. Yulia straightened her shoulders. She became even more proud. My husband earns 800,000 a month. Plus bonuses, his annual income is over 10 million. Envious glances focused on Yulia. 10 million. Incredible. In a large corporation, the salaries are different, of course, Olga whispered. And look, this bag cost 3 million. Gina gave it to me for my birthday. Yulia held up the brand name bag. The classmates buzzed admiringly. 3 million. How beautiful. I want one like that too. But 3 million is very expensive. Marina, touching the bag, didn't hide her envy. That's still modest. My husband loves brand name things. I have dozens of them in my wardrobe, Yulia continued to boast. Gennady, pleased with his wife's boasting, said, if you like it, why not buy it? My means allow it. His words held a hidden smugness. Yulia's gaze fell on Svetlana again. By the way, Sveta, how much do cleaners earn? You never said. All eyes turned to Svetlana again. She calmly replied, about 200,000. 200,000? Not bad, but still hard, I suppose. Yulia made an exaggeratedly sympathetic face, but her voice still held superiority. An annual income less than this bag, Elena added maliciously. Yes, it must be hard for her. Her husband can't provide, she has to work herself. Gennady looked at Svetlana with pity. I know how hard a cleaner's work is. We have cleaners in our company too, but usually they are older people. It's a pity that at your age you have to do such work. The classmates nodded approvingly. Yes, usually people in their 50s or 60s do this, Yekaterina chimed in. Sveta probably had no other choice. They can't live on just the husband's salary, said Olga. They continued their fake sympathy. Sveta, you work so hard, and we sit at home and do nothing. We should help somehow, but what can we do? But their eyes held more curiosity and self-satisfaction than genuine concern. Svetlana carefully examined Gennady's business card. The name of the holding seemed very familiar to her. At that moment, a faint smile flickered on her lips. Yulia, hugging her husband, said with even greater pride, My husband is even praised by the general director himself. He is a very valuable employee. Really, by the general himself? Marina asked in surprise. Of course, he's so capable. He gets promoted constantly. Gennady replied modestly, It's too early. Need to work even harder. The company is big, competition is high, but his face showed pride. By the way, Sveta, you said, where does your husband work? Gennady asked. In an ordinary company, Svetlana said without elaborating. Gennady felt an even greater sense of superiority. Ah, so in a small firm. It's very hard for small companies now. Not at all like in a large corporation. The classmates nodded in agreement. Yes, large and small companies are like night and day, both in salary and benefits, said Yulia, turning to Svetlana again. Sveta, if you need help, just say, although our capabilities are limited. The classmates giggled. They were offering help in words, but in reality, they were only humiliating Svetlana further. Gennady looked at his watch. Excuse me, I got an urgent call from work. I'll be right back. When he walked away, Yulia talked even more. My husband is so busy, he's a department head after all. A lot of responsibility is on him. Yekaterina sighed with envy. I'm jealous. We live without a care, thanks to our husbands. Svetlana listened silently. Inside, she had different thoughts, but outwardly she remained calm. Returning, Gennady said, Yes, work. As a department head, you have to be constantly available. Yulia proudly replied, But it's prestigious. Department head in the Drzava holding. That's status. All the classmates looked at the couple with envy. Only Svetlana smiled. The meeting ended, and Svetlana went home by taxi. The bright lights of nighttime Moscow flashed by outside the window. The driver glanced at Svetlana in the rearview mirror. Driver, change the address. We're going to the Constellation penthouse, said Svetlana. The driver looked at her in amazement once more. Svetlana looked too simple to live in such a place. Are you sure, the penthouse? That's quite the place. Yes, exactly, Svetlana replied calmly. The driver asked nothing more and focused on the road. Half an hour later, Svetlana stood before the door of the penthouse on the top floor. The window offered a stunning view of the entire city and the glowing Moscow River. The door opened, and a man in a strict suit appeared on the threshold. A warm smile played on his face. Darling, finally. I've been waiting for you. Ivan tenderly hugged Svetlana. His voice held sincere love. It wasn't great, actually. Svetlana sighed tiredly and sat down on the sofa. Ivan sat down next to her, putting his arm around her shoulders. Tell me, what happened? You look so upset. Svetlana began to tell him everything that had happened, the cold glances of her classmates, Yulia's outright mockery, and Gennady's arrogance. They told me to go wash the floors. And that a cleaner has no right to sit at the same table? Ivan's voice grew quieter. His usually soft face tensed. And you know, that Gennady was there. He's a department head in your holding. Ivan's expression changed sharply. His warm eyes became cold as ice. Gennady? You mean Gennady Petrovich Petrov? Yes. He's the head of the sales department, husband of my classmate Yulia. Ivan clenched his fists. Fury flashed across his face. How dare he? My subordinate, and he treats my wife like that? Svetlana took his hand, trying to calm him. Don't, Vanya, let it go. It's not important. But Ivan had already made a decision. No. This can't be left like this. My subordinate insulted my wife. How can I tolerate that? He took his phone and dialed a number. It was already 11 p.m., but he paid no attention. Oleg, sorry it's late. Be in my office early tomorrow morning. Something very important has happened. A surprised voice from Oleg, his assistant, was heard on the other end. Yes, Ivan Sergeyevich, what happened? I'll explain everything tomorrow. And prepare a full dossier on Gennady Petrov, head of the sales department. All his personal files. It will be done. It will all be settled soon, darling. No one has the right to treat you like that. Emotions were mixed in Svetlana's eyes. She understood her husband's anger but was worried. Vanya, just don't overdo it. He is your colleague. Ivan shook his head. Darling, this isn't just a work matter. It's a question of basic human respect. You know what's most important to me in the company? Mutual respect. Everyone must respect each other regardless of position and status. And my subordinate violated this principle, and not just anyone, but my wife. His voice was determined. I won't do anything too harsh, but he must learn a lesson so this never happens again. The night grew darker, but a concrete plan was already forming in Ivan's head. He was thinking about how to punish the subordinate who had insulted his wife. Ivan went into his study, turned on his laptop, and opened Gennady Petrov's personal file. 10 years in the company, head of sales department, average performance. Vanya, do you know anything about this Gennady? Svetlana asked cautiously. Seemed quiet, but as I see, he's two-faced. Ivan sighed. Once again I'm convinced you can't judge people by appearances. Svetlana squeezed his hand tightly. Thank you for being on my side. Of course, Svetochka, I'm always with you. They exchanged quiet smiles, anticipating and nervous about the events of the next day. Early morning. An unusual bustle reigned in the main office of the Druzhova holding. Despite the early hour, a rumor had spread among the employees that Ivan Sergeyevich, the general director, had arrived earlier than usual. Everyone was tense. Gennady Petrov came to work at his usual time of 8:30. In the elevator, he boasted to colleagues. Yesterday at the class reunion was a riot. My wife met her friend. She works as a cleaner at our age. The colleagues perked up. A cleaner? And how old is she? Same as us. Looks shabby, of course. Gennady took a sip of coffee. His voice was full of superiority. Meet after 25 years. And there you have it. One achieves success in a large holding, the other mops floors. The irony of fate. Andrei, his deputy, asked curiously, and what did you do? Oh, nothing much. My wife joked a bit. Honestly, I feel sorry for her. Life is tough. Gennady's voice mixed fake sympathy and genuine superiority. Here we are, department heads in a large company, and she's a cleaner. Denis, a junior manager, chimed in. Yeah, there are such people. The crisis. Not everyone is lucky. I agree. But we are not like that. We have abilities. We are respected. Gennady spoke with undisguised pride. At that moment, the office door swung open, and Ivan Sergeyevich entered. Oleg followed him. The employees jumped up and froze. "Good morning, Ivan Sergeyevich." A chorus of voices rang out. Gennady also jumped up. Ivan Sergeyevich looked at him. His gaze was unusually cold. "Gennady Petrovich, could you step into my office for a moment? I want to talk with you." Gennady tensed. "Yes, Ivan Sergeyevich, of course. Has something happened?" Ivan Sergeyevich approached him. The other employees, holding their breath, watched what was happening. "I'm just curious, what do you think about when you work?" Ivan Sergeyevich didn't take his cold eyes off him. "I always strive for the company, Ivan Sergeyevich. Did I do something wrong?" "No, not yet. I just want to know about the values and moral principles of my employees." Ivan Sergeyevich continued to stare intently at Gennady. "Gennady Petrovich, how do you like your job? Are you satisfied?" "Yes, very satisfied, Ivan Sergeyevich. Thanks to you, I work in excellent conditions, for which I am very grateful to you," Gennady replied flatteringly. "By the way, our employees are among the best. They hold a high position in society. I believe we are head and shoulders above many others." Gennady proudly puffed out his chest. Ivan Sergeyevich's gaze grew even colder. "Head and shoulders above others? Such as whom?" "Well, cleaners or those who do simple physical labor. I actually saw such a woman yesterday. Felt very sorry for her." Ivan Sergeyevich's fist clenched under the table, but outwardly he remained calm. "Saw her yesterday, you say?" "Yes. At my wife's class reunion. Works as a cleaner. Hard to believe that at the same age people can have such different lives." Gennady continued to demonstrate his superiority. "And what did you say to her?" "Well, expressed sympathy, but honestly, I felt she was from a different world. After all, we work in such a wonderful company. We are respected." Gennady understood nothing. Ivan Sergeyevich nodded to Oleg. He nodded back. "Gennady Petrovich, tomorrow we will have a general meeting. The topic is very important." "Attendance is mandatory," said Ivan Sergeyevich. "Yes, Ivan Sergeyevich." "What will the topic be?" "You'll find out tomorrow. It will be very interesting." Ivan Sergeyevich turned away and threw over his shoulder, "Gennady Petrovich, never judge people by their clothes. Remember that." Gennady shrugged in bewilderment, and Ivan Sergeyevich already left the office. When the general was gone, the colleagues pounced on Gennady. "Gennady Petrovich, what was that? The general came and went straight to you. Is something wrong?" "I don't know, probably something important. There's a meeting tomorrow." Gennady remembered the general's cold look but tried to brush off the worry. "Probably not because of me. Maybe a problem in another department?" He had no idea he was at the center of the approaching storm. In his office, Ivan Sergeyevich summoned Oleg. The general's face was more tense than the previous evening. "Oleg, what did the investigation on Petrov show?" "Ivan Sergeyevich, I gathered all the data. Gennady Petrov has worked for 10 years. His performance is average. Overall, no serious violations." Ivan Sergeyevich flipped through the folder. "And how does he communicate with colleagues?" "There are problems here. He often acts arrogantly with subordinates. And most unpleasantly, there are several testimonies that he treats cleaners and security guards with disdain." Ivan Sergeyevich's face tensed. "Just as I thought. Yesterday I was convinced he has serious problems with his moral principles." "What happened, Ivan Sergeyevich? What's the story?" Ivan Sergeyevich told Oleg in detail about the class reunion. Oleg couldn't hide his indignation. "Told her to go wash the floors. And that a cleaner has no right to sit with them?" "Yes. And humiliated her publicly." Oleg clenched his fists. "This is unforgivable. A simple punishment won't suffice here. How painful it must have been for Svetlana. I cannot forgive this. We can't just fire him. We need to teach a lesson to everyone. Ivan Sergeyevich walked to the window. The whole city was visible as if on the palm of his hand. I will hold a special meeting for all employees. Topic: corporate culture, respect, and morality. Excellent idea. When? Tomorrow at 2 p.m. in the large hall. Everyone must be there. No one should be absent. And will Svetlana be present? Yes, she will tell what happened herself. It will be a vivid example. Oleg nodded. It will be done. But should we warn Petrov? No. He must know nothing in advance. The element of surprise will be stronger. Understood, Ivan Sergeyevich. I'll do everything in the strictest secrecy. Ivan Sergeyevich returned to his desk. And one more thing, Oleg, check his past for any shady dealings. Such behavior can't be the only instance. Will be done immediately. There was steel in the general's eyes. He could not leave the insult to his wife unpunished. In the office, Gennady continued to discuss the cleaner with colleagues. He felt no threat. You know what's funniest? There was a strange defiance in her eyes. It was as if she was looking down on us. A cleaner, looking down. Probably an inferiority complex, Gennady Petrovich, said Denis. Compares herself to us. Perhaps, but her life is certainly not like ours. At that moment, he was interrupted by Andrei. And what's that meeting about tomorrow? Ivan Sergeyevich himself is coming. That's unusual. I don't know. Another ethics training, probably. Boring. Gennady had no idea he was just a step away from his downfall. Meanwhile, Ivan Sergeyevich and Oleg were preparing the presentation. It should focus on a real-life example. About discrimination in the workplace, about humiliation, and, of course, about Petrov. Will it be appropriate to publicly name an employee? Oleg asked. This is not revenge, it's an educational process for the entire organization. Petrov will be a vivid example, a bad example. And what time will Svetlana arrive? 10 minutes before the start, so no one suspects anything. Preparations were in full swing. Gennady, knowing nothing, calmly finished his workday. The next morning, an announcement spread throughout the Druzhova holding. All employees, coming to work, saw it on their computers. Urgent meeting. Today at 1400 hours, large hall. Topic: corporate culture, respect, and morality. Gennady grumbled, this ethics stuff again. How much time can we waste? Usually, some coach handles this. Why is the general himself involved? Andrei asked. Gennady shrugged. I don't know. Probably yesterday's visit is related, some problems. He wasn't worried. He was confident it didn't concern him. During the lunch break, Ivan Sergeyevich and Oleg made the final preparations. Everything ready? Hall, sound, presentation. Ready. Emphasis on the case of discrimination and humiliation in the workplace. Petrov's name will come up several times. Ivan Sergeyevich nodded in satisfaction. He must receive a strong blow. It's unacceptable for him to remain in ignorance. Meanwhile, Svetlana was at home getting ready to go out. Today she was completely different. An expensive blue suit, a pearl necklace, light makeup. The image of a businesswoman. Looking at herself in the mirror, she saw firmness in her eyes. Ivan called. Svetochka, are you ready? Yes, almost. But are you sure everything will go well? Sure. We must teach a lesson. And to the other employees too. Okay. I'll be there at 1:50 p.m. Exactly at 2 p.m., the large hall of the Druzhova holding was packed. About 500 employees. Such a crowd was usually only seen at company anniversaries. Ivan Sergeyevich stepped onto the stage, everyone fell silent. He looked unusually serious. Dear colleagues, thank you for coming. Today we will talk about a very important thing we often forget. About respect and basic courtesy. About the need to observe ethics regardless of position, social status, or money. There was power in Ivan Sergeevich's voice. The employees listened attentively. Gennady also focused. We all work, each in our place. I am the general director, someone is a new employee. And even the person who does the cleaning. We are all important. All our employees are valuable people. The employees nodded. But, unfortunately, some of us forget this. They use their position to humiliate others. Ignore them, insult them. And this is unacceptable. Gennady felt uncomfortable. Suddenly, it seemed to him that this concerned him. Today we will analyze a real case. It happened just yesterday, and one of our employees is involved. A murmur went through the hall. Gennady's face paled. This employee, proud of his position and salary in a large corporation, humiliated another person, a woman who works as a cleaner, and did it publicly. Gennady fidgeted in his chair. Sweat broke out on his forehead. She was told, go wipe the floors with your mop. And how dare you, a cleaner, sit at the same table with us? And this happened at a class reunion, people he hadn't seen for 25 years. Gennady's face turned white. He tried to stand up, but his legs wouldn't obey him. Colleagues began to notice his agitation. Ivan Sergeevich waved his hand towards the wings. Today with us is the person who was humiliated. Please welcome our special guest. Svetlana walked onto the stage. Elegant, confident. She looked completely different from yesterday. Gennady's eyes widened. It's her, he whispered. What, his neighbor heard. You know her, Gennady Petrovich, his neighbor asked. That's the cleaner. What is she doing on stage? Gennady's voice trembled. Ivan Sergeevich took Svetlana's hand and, addressing all employees, said, let me introduce you. This is my wife, Svetlana Andreevna. Chaos reigned in the large hall. 500 people were in shock. Gennady's face turned ashen white. He tried to stand but collapsed back into his chair. One of you dared to insult this woman. Called her a cleaner and told her to go wash the floors. And did it publicly? Ivan Sergeevich looked directly at Gennady. All eyes turned to Gennady. 500 pairs of eyes looked at him. He tried to stand but fell again. I'm sorry, Ivan Sergeevich. I didn't know. I didn't know she was your wife. His voice was barely audible. Ivan Sergeevich continued in a cold but loud voice. You didn't know. So, if you knew she was my wife, you would respect her, but if you didn't know, then it's okay to humiliate her? Gennady couldn't answer. His lips trembled. Gennady Petrovich, what did you say to my wife yesterday? Say it right here, in front of everyone. Gennady lowered his head. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Say it. Tell them what you said to her. Gennady's voice trembled. Cleaner. Told her to wash the floors and not to sit with us. Ivan Sergeevich became even colder. What did you feel when you said that? Did you feel superior? Gennady was silent. Colleagues looked at him with disgust. Svetlana took the microphone. Her voice was quiet but resolute. I chose to work as a cleaner to live an ordinary life, not to depend on my husband's money and status. But that does not give anyone the right to humiliate me. No matter who you are, no matter how much you earn. Every person has the right to respect. The employees nodded, sincerely sympathetic. When I heard these insults at the reunion, I felt my human dignity was trampled. Gennady tried to fall to his knees. Svetlana Andreevna, please, forgive me. I was mistaken. Svetlana looked at him with a cold gaze. Gennady Petrovich, just yesterday you humiliated me, calling me a cleaner. And only because you found out who I am, you ask for forgiveness. Sincere respect is shown not when you know a person's status, but before that. Gennady froze. He had nothing to say. Ivan Sergeyevich took the microphone again. Colleagues, I hope this example has shown all of us what true character is. A true person respects anyone, regardless of their status. And we at the Derzava Holding value this principle above all. I hope this never happens again. Gennady couldn't raise his head from shame. He had been humiliated in front of 500 colleagues. Immediately after the meeting, Gennady was summoned to the HR department. He could barely move his legs. The head of HR, Maria Petrovna, met him with a cold look. Gennady Petrovich, have a seat. He sat down on trembling legs. Documents lay on Maria Petrovna's desk. You have committed a serious offense by insulting the general director's family. According to the company charter, you are dismissed immediately. She handed him the papers. And your name will be added to the blacklist. Your further career in large corporations will most likely be impossible. Gennady paled. Please, Maria Petrovna, I beg you, don't. I didn't know she was the general's wife. Maria Petrovna shook her head. That's the problem. You wouldn't have respected her if you didn't know. Every person must be respected. That's the foundation. Gennady was speechless. This is the company's decision. It is not subject to appeal. You have 30 minutes to collect your personal belongings and leave the premises. Security staff will assist you. Gennady staggered out of the office. His walk down the corridor was like a criminal's procession. Colleagues avoided his gaze. Gennady Petrovich, is it true? Andrei asked cautiously. Gennady just lowered his head, unable to answer. He packed his things into a box. Family photos, children's drawings. 10 years of life, erased in a moment. That evening at home, he had to tell Yulia everything. Yulia, I was fired. Completely. Yulia, washing dishes, turned around. Fired? Why? Gennady told her about the meeting and the shocking truth. Svetlana. She is the wife of the general director of the Derzava Holding. Yulia's face turned white. That can't be. She said she worked as a cleaner. I couldn't believe it either, but the general himself introduced her in front of 500 employees. Yulia fell to the floor. She remembered her mockery, her boasting. I insulted the general's wife. That same night, Gennady and Yulia stood before the door of Svetlana's penthouse. They looked pathetic. When Svetlana opened the door, they both fell to their knees. Svetlana Andreevna, we beg you, forgive us, please. Yulia sobbed. We were so wrong. If you forgive us, we will remember this our whole lives. Svetlana looked at them coldly. Just yesterday you humiliated me, called me a cleaner. You laughed. Do you think your apology today can heal that wound? Can it return my dignity to me? Gennady desperately pleaded. We are guilty. We are very guilty. Please, say something to Ivan Sergeyevich. But Svetlana's heart was unyielding. Every action has consequences. How you behaved with me yesterday, that is your true face. Ivan Sergeyevich appeared behind her. Svetochka, what's going on? He looked at them coldly. Gennady Petrovich, do you remember your words yesterday? Ivan Sergeyevich, I beg you, give me another chance. I have a family, children, loans. Ivan Sergeyevich was stern. Gennady Petrovich. My company needs people with moral principles. People like you are not needed. Yulia tried to grab Svetlana's legs. Svetlana Andreevna, please, I am guilty too. I humiliated you so much. Now I am Svetlana Andreevna, but yesterday I was just a cleaner. Exactly, Svetlana replied coldly. Ivan and Svetlana turned and entered the house, leaving them alone. A month passed. The Petrov family's life deteriorated sharply. The lack of salary was a catastrophe. Banks began demanding loan repayments. Gennady Petrovich, you have missed a payment. If the delay continues, we will start the collateral seizure procedure, a bank employee told him. Gennady paled. They could lose their house. Yulia had to sell all her brand-name bags. For how much can I sell this? I bought it for 3 million. At best, it's only 30% of the price. Maximum 1 million. Prices for luxury goods drop significantly, the seller said. Yulia felt her world had collapsed. What she was so proud of turned out to be worthless. The children had to change schools. Dad, why are we moving? I don't want to leave my friends, their son Genya cried. I lost my job. We have to find a cheaper place. Liza, their daughter, also cried. Mom, this school is good. Can't we stay? Sorry, Liza, it's our fault. We made a mistake. Yulia couldn't hold back tears. Gennady sent out resumes but got rejections everywhere. The blacklist worked flawlessly. Sorry, we cannot hire you. Why? We have information about your moral issues. Our company does not hire people dismissed for such reasons. Gennady was in despair. 10 years of career collapsed in an instant. After 2 months, the Petrovs moved into a small apartment. Yulia sat in the empty room and cried bitterly. Why did I treat her like that? Why did I humiliate her so? Gennady sat down next to her. It's my fault. I was arrogant. We were both wrong. Judged a person only by appearance. They understood it too late. Svetlana continued to live her ordinary life in the penthouse. The evening Moscow was still beautiful. Ivan Sergeyevich asked her, You don't regret it? Maybe we went too far? Svetlana shook her head. No, they chose that path themselves. I just showed them the truth. A person's true nature is revealed not in trouble, but in the moment when they feel their superiority. Ivan Sergeyevich agreed. You're right. A person with power or position shows who they really are by how they treat others. 3 months passed. Gennady still hadn't found a decent job. The only thing he found was a position as a simple manager in a small firm. The salary was 4 times less than before. On his first day of work, he took the subway. He used to drive his own car, which he now had to sell. In the carriage, he saw a cleaner. Before, he wouldn't have even looked in her direction, but now he looked at her with respect. Every job is important. Every person deserves respect. He understood it too late. At his new job, he was very careful. He treated everyone respectfully, even the cleaners. One day he accidentally ran into Svetlana on the street. She was dressed in simple clothes, cleaning one of the office centers. Gennady approached her and bowed deeply. Svetlana Andreevna, I am very, very guilty. Svetlana stopped. I hope you have at least somewhat understood what your mistake was. Yes, too late, but I understand. Svetlana smiled weakly. People can change. It's important that you truly realize it. Gennady bowed deeply again. I will live my life respecting every person. Svetlana nodded and continued her work. Gennady quietly walked away. From that day on, he truly changed. He got rid of his arrogance and began to live modestly. Yulia did too. She stopped chasing brands and began to communicate with people sincerely. Their children, seeing this, also learned the lesson. A year later, Gennady became a respected employee in his small firm. The position and salary were modest, but his colleagues trusted him. One day, when an elderly cleaner fell on the stairs, Gennady was the first to rush to her. Can I help you? Are you hurt? Thank you, son. You rarely meet such kindness these days, she said. Gennady felt ashamed, remembering his former self. Power and status can disappear in an instant, but character and human dignity are what define a person's true worth. Gennady and Yulia realized this late, but they were grateful they had realized it at all. Svetlana and Ivan Sergeyevich still lived happily. Svetlana continued to work as a cleaner, and Ivan Sergeyevich was proud of his wife. True wealth is not money or status, but love and mutual respect. They both knew, you cannot judge a person by their appearance, and everyone deserves respect. No matter who you are, no matter how you are dressed, the main thing is your principles. This story taught that to everyone.